O'clock somewhere. The Texans learned a lot about themselves on Thursday against the Lions.
That was big Sarge.
Hey, what's going on, y'all? You're tuned to the Texans Happy Hour. I'm your host, Big Sarge. As you can see, I am on location. Um, Here in Michigan, as the Houston Texans prepare to take on the Detroit Lions on Saturday in their final preseason game. What's going on, Crunk? What's up, Desmond? Hey, will y'all do me a favor? Let me know if y'all can hear me good. If y'all can hear me good, I'm using the headphones right now because I am downstairs. But I will take these headphones off and talk straight through the computer if I need to, if you all can't hear me very well. But let me know in the comments if you can hear me well or not. Hey, look, before we get started, I don't know if I can take this Michigan weather in the winter, but right now, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. It makes me feel like, like I was when it made me feel like we are back in West Virginia because appreciate that. Give us the good, the bad, the ugly. I really like this weather up here. I know that I can't take it back with me, but wow. I'm telling you all, I know I've said this before, I'll say it again. When it's no humidity, it just feels amazing. Like amazing. I love it. I'm not gonna even lie to you. So I I like it. Now, from what I was told before we got here, it was hot. And I don't know if the people in Michigan know what hot really mean. What's up, Alexis? What's up, Blake? What's up? I'm him. I already spoke to Crunk. Demond, what's good? Scrooston Ghost, what's up? I don't know if people really know. If you're not from Houston, I don't think you really know what hot is. You know what? Let me take that back. In Arizona, they know what hot is. It's that dry heat. It's just that dry heat that just lean on you. Let me open this thing up a little bit, y'all. Y'all give me a second. There we go. Look, I feel like I'm loose now, y'all. I'm loose. I felt all cramped up like this. Like, hello, I am Sarge. I have come to report on how the Texans did today. Erlen, what's going on, Rich Boy J? Scrooston, you say I was watching the Lions fans podcast. Something they were saying the O line was getting handled. CJ was running marathons out there. Say it ain't so, Sarge. We're gonna get to that. I promise you, Scrooston. We're gonna get to that. Sarge, is there any particular reason why you guys couldn't provide updates, but the Lions? Hold on. Was there any particular reason why you guys couldn't provide updates, but the Lions media could? Man, I'm refreshing my Twitter feed every 5 minutes looking for specifically for your training camp update. I put out as many as I can. So, and real quickly before we jump in, I'm gonna answer that. I'm him. So on Thursday, we got we were told by the Texas Communications Department that we're going back to regular season protocol when it comes to practices. And so you all know through the regular season, we don't get to watch practice. We get to watch like the beginning, but once they really get into planning and stuff like that, game planning, we don't get an opportunity to watch them. So they're back in that mode with the Lions. So the Texans are different during training camp, mini camp, OTAs. The Texans will allow you to, take pictures and shoot video for a certain amount of time. Then they'll stop. The Lions don't allow that at all unless you have a camera. Now I had a camera, but if you had a camera, you had to stand in a specific spot. Then I wasn't just gonna stand in a specific spot because I can't see. I had to see. The training facility is really nice. They got two practice fields as well, but you could stand in the middle. You could watch both of them go at the same time if you get the right spot. So I wasn't going to just stand in one spot. But so this is what I found out though, I'm him. It wasn't so much the media members as it was fans in the stands. Fans in hey, hold on. Texas Hawks say Mississippi is hot. Oh yeah, it is hot too. Mississippi is hot. But it was more of like fans in the stands who create like Lions content and things like that, or who has followings and may have like their own website or Substack or something like that. But the actual media members, the credential media members for the Lions, they shouldn't have been doing it. They shouldn't have been doing it at all. And so that's why you didn't see a lot of stuff from us as far as videos and photos was concerned. We couldn't tell you formations, we couldn't tell you lineups. We could only give you, and that's what I tried to do. I tried to make sure that I gave you all up to the minute things that were happening, like Jawar Jordan, the way Jawar Jordan looked, what the Lions wide receivers were doing. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm and it's the one thing is the one question that I made sure that I asked um, head coach D'Amico Ryans about. One thing that I want to make sure that I asked him about was the defensive backs adjusting to the speed of the Lions wide receivers. And shoot, uh, Jameer Gibbs out the backfield. Goodness gracious. We're gonna, like I said, we're gonna get to all of that in just a second. I'm gonna give you my observations, but I will say this: I know that this Lions organization lost their offensive coordinator, Ben Johnson, who became the head coach of the Chicago Bears, and I know that they lost their defensive coordinator in Aaron Glenn, who is now the head coach of the New York Jets. But I'm gonna be honest with you. They still look good. They still look good. And like I said at the title of this of this show was the Texans learned a lot about themselves on Thursday. This was by far the most competitive joint practice, hell, I would even say preseason game that I have seen the Houston Texans play in the well, let's just say this, in the D'Amico Ryans era. In the D'Amico Ryans era, this is the best joint practice and preseason game. Even though they're not going to play the preseason game until Saturday, you won't see a lot of starters. You won't see there won't be a lot of the starters from both sides playing in the games. There'll be a lot of reserves who are looking to make this team. But this is the most competitive. It in all honesty, like I put in my article, it looked like not in my article, but I did write an article. I'll tell you about that later on. But like I said in my recap, it looked like a regular season game. They played the starters for a long period of time on both sides. The reserves got some, the reserves got some run as well. But with the starters in, you just like, damn, I'm really watching a game for real, for real. And the only thing that was missing was the tackling, like the physicality and tackling. That was the only thing missing. And I will say this, right? Hold on, y'all, give me a second. I'm not drinking. This is just water. I have a dinner to go to tonight. I'm catching up with you all remember Cody M. Davis, who used to cover the Texans and the Rockets, and now he's up here in Detroit covering the Pistons, and helps out with the Lions when needed. He came out today. So I was standing there with Cody, and I got asked the question. I got asked the question. Um, I got asked the question: Is something wrong with the Houston Texans defense? And I'm saying to myself, I'm looking and I'm saying, okay. And like I said, we'll get to the defensive backs in a second. Um, Aziz Al-Shaair did not practice today. I'm watching Christian Harris in there. I'm watching EJ Speed. I'm watching Henry Toa, um, Christian Harris, and then I'm watching that front line. And I'm saying, and I told him, I had to tell him, I said, the problem that you're seeing with the Houston Texans defense is they don't play two-hand touch very well. You know what I mean by that? Do you know what I mean by that? They don't play two-hand touch very well, meaning that they're a physical defense from the safety position all the way down to the defensive line. They're physical. That's what Swarm stands for. They're physical. They won't put their hands on you. They want to hit you. They won't take you to the ground. They don't want to hurt you, but they want you to know that they are there. And so when they go through these practices where they can't be as physical, it just looks different. That's when you see, I mean, we'll talk about Will Anderson Jr. In a minute. Hold on, let me write this down. But that's when you'll see, okay. That's when you'll see when they're going full speed, but they're really not. I'm gonna give you a prime example, right? Uh, uh let me give you a prime example. JJ Sugar asks, where was D'Amico's focus for this joint practice against Carolina? He was with the offense most of the time. Today's with the defense. And I'm glad he was, because when the tempers flared up, when Foley Fatukasi was about to go as some dude, it took D'Amico having to calm him down. Like it took D'Amico having to calm him down. But the Texans, when they're a physical defense. Let me just say that. So I was about to give you an example. So last week in the joint practice against the Carolina Panthers, going through the motions, whatever the case may be. But they were practicing, don't get me wrong. But go back and look at what the defense looked like on Saturday against the Carolina Panthers and what was being reported when they were going against the Carolina Panthers. Go back and look at what was being reported from the joint practices, the joint practice with the Carolina Panthers. Look at what they were saying about the joint practice, and then tell me what you saw on Saturday when that team hit the field. That's a lot of the difference. That is a lot of the difference. They just don't play two-hand touch very well. Some teams do. Some teams play two-hand touch very well. And like I said, what two-hand touch is, you can't take them to the ground. You can't really impose your will on them. You can't really take them to the ground. So that was the thing that I had to make sure that I told my colleague today, that it's like, don't get it twisted. Like, don't get me wrong. The Lions have a really good team. I just would like to see what it would look like in real time if they were able to actually tackle. That's all. That's all. And like I said, I'm not taking anything away. I'm not taking anything away from the Detroit Lions. I've been singing their praises all day. I got a chance to talk with defensive back Kirby Joseph as he was coming off the field. I got some audio that I'm gonna put out from him. But so here's the question. Do y'all want me to jump into the observations first, or y'all want me to answer some of these questions? Because I can answer the questions and then jump into the observations, or you want me to do the observations and answer the questions at the end? Because I don't have a limited time, but I got a limited time because we have reservations for we got reservations for 8:30 and it is 6:22 here. Uh so all right, let's go ahead. Okay, so it looks like the everybody's saying they want to get to the observations. Let me start off with what I have. You know what? I probably should have did this. Like I told you, what did I tell you all? This is a show that sometimes things get done in real time. So I didn't have time to do this pre show, so I'm gonna do it right now, so you all can see it. And every time I do an observation, I'm going to have to stop and do this. So y'all give me a second. I was trying to make sure that I got on here to give y'all enough time so we all could actually talk as well. All right, so here's the first observation. Lions wide receivers versus the Texans secondary. So I like that, Tristan. Either or, Sarge, your observations might answer questions as in vice versa. I got you. All right, so the Lions wide receivers versus Texas secondary. So I remember watching the Lions versus the Texans game last season at NRG Stadium. I was there. It was that week 10. Week 10. I was there, and a lot of you all don't want to talk about that. That'll give you PTSD for real. That's still a sore spot for a lot of people. One person that it really affected was former Texans offensive coordinator Bobby Slowick. I digress. So I got a chance to see the Lions wide receivers from the press box, and for the most part, the secondary was contained them, and that's why I still have that mindset of what I just spoke about earlier about if this defense could have been physical today, it maybe the route concepts. I mean, stopping those wide receivers would have looked differently. But when you're watching Jameer Gibbs come out of the backfield with that type of speed, when you're watching Jameson Williams, when you're watching, look, Amon St. Brown, oh my God, I look, I got to put some respect on that man's name. I did not know. Like I've watched him, right? I've watched him play. Like I'm saying to myself, look, it ain't like I'm seeing these players for the first time, but I'm watching them for the first time up close. Hey, look, Amon St. Brown can play in anywhere. I think that they can put him in the backfield. That man can play football. When they put him on the outside, he was effective. When they put him in the slot, he was effective. You all remember when I reported that Kalen Bullock had got an interception? That was on a 2 point. I think I put that in there too. That was on a 2 point try, but that was after Amon Ra St. Brown caught a touchdown in the back of the end zone. Tiptoed that joker in the back. Let me have it. Give it to me. On the back line. Not front, not in the middle. Jared Goff put that joker right on that back line. And he caught it. So, um, Khalif, I think that's his name, number 11. Him, St. Brown, Williams, Jamar Gibbs, they were given they were given that secondary hell at first. Hold on for a second. Why you didn't tell me it was your son's birthday on the 18th? Don't worry. Just stay right here. I'm gonna talk about him in a second too. I got that. Let me see where. Yep. I'll make sure that I put this down. So they were they were exposing. I don't know if I don't want to say is exposing is the right word, but in the beginning, that Texas secondary was having trouble with that speed. with the speed and the route concepts, the Lions got some good route concepts too. They run some plays that you just be like, oh, they didn't let Ben take his playbook. No, it's okay, Miss Jordan. I was just messing with you. But they must have let Ben Johnson take the playbook because they still were running some of those same route concepts as they were from last season. So at first, but as time went on, the Houston Texans, and this is the one thing that I like about the Houston Texans, and I like about the Houston Texans, not only the Houston Texans players as far as the secondary is concerned, but I like their coaches because appreciate that showtime. I can't help but to do it now. But the one thing that you got to respect from cornerbacks coach Dino Basso and safeties coach Stephen Adegoji, you got to respect that they know how to adjust in real time on the fly. Like they watch, they see, okay, all right. And so whereas the Lions wide receivers was giving the Texan secondary the business in the beginning, something you're not used to seeing. Something you're not used to seeing, that secondary like that. And then as time went on, you start to see them get a little bit more comfortable and a little bit more comfortable. Okay, all right, okay. Oh, this is what y'all want to do. Oh, all right. And then next thing you know, the whole defense was just all right. Let's get it together. Let's get this thing together. And don't get me wrong, they still gave up some plays. But they weren't giving up chunk plays like they were in the beginning. In the beginning, they was giving up chunk plays. And I'm like, all right, it's about to be a long day. It's about to be a long day if this defense is not going to be able to stop Jared Goff and these wide receivers. And as time went on, they just started slowly but surely getting them back, and they got themselves together. It looked like they finally picked themselves up and got themselves together. I'm looking for something to scratch out. And I will say this: the Texans need. I wouldn't rush him back, but since you know that you're probably not going to get Jimmy Ward back for a long time, and that's due to injury and legal issues, you're probably not going to get him back. If CJ Gardner Johnson is not ready, for the first week, so it's a catch-22, right? It's a catch-22 because when that front seven is doing exactly what it needs to do, then it gives the safeties an opportunity to do what they need to do. We know what Kalen Bullock can do. We know what CJ Gardner Johnson can do. MJ Stewart is the one who's suffering. MJ Stewart is the one who's suffering from them not being able to be physical during this. Because during this joint practice, he did not look good. He was out of position a lot. And that's when you say, damn, I wish we had CJ Gardner. And I'm not me, myself. I'm saying the Texans. Damn, I wish CJ Gardner Johnson was out here. Because if he was out here, he'd be able to stop a lot of these things that is coming on. And with the way that he is, he probably would have, shoulder checked a couple of them, let them know, hey, don't try to do that. But it's just something about the way MJ Stewart played as a whole overall today that I just wasn't comfortable with. And like I said, I know that it has a lot to do with them not being able to be physical and get that pressure up. But I want you all to pay attention because that's something that going into next week when they start to prepare, when they're practicing, and then that following week when they really get into practicing, that's something that we're going to have to see. We're going to have to see what's going to happen when with CJ Gardner Johnson. And if not, because I don't think you all remember this or not, but I asked Matt Burke. I'm gonna have to go back and clip that up. But that's the one thing that I asked Matt Burke. I said, with CJ Gardner Johnson out and no Jimmy Ward, can you see yourself Can you see a scenario where Jalen Petrie will play some at safety? And he's like, well, I can see a scenario where I can see, he said, Sarge, I can see a lot of scenarios. So he didn't answer my question, but he basically alluded to you could see it, I guess, in case of an emergency. He said because Jalen can play so many positions, so many positions on that defensive side of the ball. Because if you look at it, of course, we know that he can play safety. We know that he is the nickel corner. And hell, he probably could be a weak side linebacker too. Like I'm just saying, he could be a weak side linebacker. But on Thursday, what the Lions did was, and Jalen Petrie specifically is going to have to get with Christian Kirk, and they're definitely going to have to work together because Jalen is good in coverage when it comes to being able to cover in a short range. When it's a short range, everything in front of him. But when in a short range, he's able to cover. But when he goes up against those slot wide receivers, like when they put Amon-Ra St. Brown in the slot, it's hard. It's those small shifty. What's up, Patton? It's those small shifty slot receivers that can really move. That gives him some trouble sometimes. That gives him some trouble coming off the line. So I don't know what adjustments they're going to have to make. I don't know, you know, what Christian Kirk is going to tell him in order to be able to help him. But Amon-Ra St. Brown exposed that today. And that's something that's a trend that I've seen when it comes to Jalen holding those smaller shift. Like he holds smaller wide receivers, smaller slot receivers. But it's the shifty ones that gives him the issue. That's why last season, Stephon Diggs helped him out. What's up, White Mike? That's why Stephon Diggs was talking to him so much last season, helping him, before he got hurt, before Stephon got hurt, helping him and telling him, hey, this is what I'm going to do. And like I said, Christian Kirk does that too. So the Texans secondary, they had some issues in the beginning with the Lions wide receivers, but they made up for them. All right. Here we go with the next one. Like I said, y'all, this is real time because I didn't get a chance to do this because I had to finish up the article, get to you all, and I got to go to dinner. I'm not trying to make excuses. I just want to make sure. I just wanted to make sure that I was here to be able to kick it with y'all because Tuesday I did a podcast. I did another podcast with some Texas content creators. And then Wednesday I traveled, and so by the time I got through traveling and got myself settled in, it was so I wasn't gonna go 3 days without talking to y'all. That's ridiculous. That's ludicrous. Uh Here's my second observation. Give me a second. Give me a people to free my soul. I wanna get lost in your rock and roll and drift away. I like that song. Give me the people and free my soul. All right, so second thing that I observed was yes, it is cool here, Larry. It is cool here. The Texans offense, all right? What's up, Reverend Brooks? Yeah, Pat Knight, because I ain't got my hat on, man, and I still got my hairline. Don't get it twisted, but my hair ain't brushed, so I don't want to make sure that I had that done. The Texas offense needs to start, needs fast to start, and I said this in my recap that I did at the Lions facility, just like they have done every training camp, right? Stick to your main job, Big So. Hey man, I never said I could sing. I can hold a note though. Hold on. Don't hey man, don't make me start up in here, man. Don't make me start up in here. Have me in here up in here sounding like Luther, man. Um the Texans offense stuck true to form against the Lions on Thursday. I don't know what it is about the beginning of practice. It's like those first two team drills. The first two team drills, and what I mean by team drills is the first two scrimmages, the first two 11 on 11, when it's whether it's against their own defense or whether it's against another team's defense, every time they just start slow. And Nico Collins talked about that too. Nico Collins talked about that in his post game press conference about, hey, they need to you know, start quicker and start faster. And I know what he means. He's talking about in practice because they only got two series throughout the whole preseason. Like that two series would probably be the only playing time you said Big Luther, not Little Luther, Big Luther. Uh but that's the two series that you seen against the Carolina Panthers on last Saturday be probably the only two series the only series you see the Houston Texans starters on offense play until the regular season starts against the Los Angeles Rams. But true to form, and which is one of the reasons why you probably seen so many Lions fans and some of the Texans media, and it could have been myself as well. I got to go back and I was trying to tweet as much as I can for you all because, like I said earlier, that policy makes it difficult because now you're like, can I tweet this? Can I not tweet this? Is this okay? Is this not okay? And so, but the first two drills, they just look slow every time. And then about that third one they pick up, that fourth one they clicking, and by the fifth one they are bam, 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 bam. They was moving, they was going. I'm talking about they get it. By the time they get towards the end of practice, I'm like, damn. See, it's funny because a lot of you all are too young to remember this. But I know I got some old heads in here. What's up, King Kobe 713? Last name winner. What's going on? J Rock, what's going on? Some of you all are too White Mike would know this too. So back in the day, you used to have to warm your car up. Like when it was cold, especially. But back in the day, you used to have to warm your car up. I was one of them little kids that your mama would be like, hey, go out there and warm that car up. Like when it got cooler, go out there and warm that car up. So now I'm 10 years old running out there, me. And I'm pretty sure that a lot of other people in the chat felt this way too. You running out there with the keys, you run out there with the keys, you in there, you start the car, don't put it in gear, nothing, but you just grab the steering wheel like you driving, you know what I'm saying? You driving, you in there freezing your butt off because the heat ain't kicked in yet, but you in there, you got to warm up your car. These cars nowadays, you ain't got to warm them up. You just hop in them and go. Like you just the way that the engine is so computerized, you don't need to warm up. Back in the day, them old engines, you had to warm your car up. Now you just get them and go. And so I feel like the Texans got an old school deuce and a quarter. I feel like the Texans, when the Texans offense is like an old school deuce and a quarter. You can't just jump in that thing and go. You got to warm it up. And I think what they're learning in real time, and especially I think once the game starts, is they know they got to hit the ground run. They got to click on all cylinders. They got to get going. King Kobe said we was the first remote starts. Yes, we were. But the Texans offense for the first two team drills has been playing like an old school deuce and a quarter, and so old box Chevy, and I don't think they're going to do that in the regular season. Let's just be there. I think that Nick Caley, and it's crazy because I think I told Cody M. Davis today that it looks like these first two drills is always team installs. Like an install or something. It's something in particular that Nick Caley wants to see. And then after that, he's like, all right, CJ, go do your thing. Because in the beginning, it looked like Terrion Arnold and Brian Branch. It kept like they were getting the best of the wide receivers, and it looked like they was getting the best of Nico Collins. Nico went for a deep pass. I think that Terrion Arnold broke it up. It's hard because like you got to look at the numbers. The Lions don't have names on the back of their jerseys. They just got numbers. So you got to look at the roster, see who's who, and try to remember who's who. But the first two, man, it's like, all right. Don't get me wrong. Hey, Jalen Noel and Higgins. I got that written down, right? Yep. Noel and Higgins. Side note, because I'm going to get back to Nico in just a second. Side note, I like Higgins. Higgins is a big body. Higgins runs very good routes. And it looks like what they're trying to do is they're not trying to rush him. And with the emergence of Xavier Hutchinson, which I asked CJ about today, he said CJ even said that he's having a CJ don't cuss. He's having a really good camp. He says he likes what he's seeing from Hutch. And I think that with the emergence of Hutch, that's giving them more time to work with Higgins, which allows him to work first team and second team. So they're just trying to give him game reps. I like the way that young man runs routes, gets big when he has to, gets small when he has to. But man, this Noel, right? This Jalen Noel, yeah, he's something special. I'm telling you all, he is something special. You'll get a chance and opportunity to hear me speak with him. I got an exclusive interview that I'm going to put out here pretty soon. But I think you all seen the clip when I asked him about, has he, in this Nick Caley system, being, somewhat similar to what they did in New England. I asked if he went back and he watched any of Danny Amendola, Julian Edelman. He said yes, even Wes Welker. He said, but the difference between them and myself is I can also get vertical. And he says no disrespect to them. It's just that my game is different. I know that I can do everything that they did. I can do everything that they did, but I can also get vertical. Y'all watch out for that young man. If they do go, let's just say at one point the Texans run double slots. I haven't seen this formation, so don't say, hey Sarge, what did it look like? I haven't seen this formation. But if they go double slots with Christian Kirk and Jalen Noel, that's gonna be not only hell on safeties, not only hell on whichever nickel, because if the nickel cornerback got a hold Kirk, then one of the safeties is going to have to, either the safety or the linebacker going to have to try to hold Noel. And there is not, it ain't too many safeties or linebackers that can actually hold him. And so the reason why I'm speaking on Noel is for as big as Higgins is and how he can run good routes. Hey, Jalen Noel can do the same thing. Jalen Noel can do the exact same thing. Hold on. And I'll get back to what I was saying. Hold on. I got to write this down. Nico. So I don't forget either. Hey, Don Burr. He says, Detroit fan here. Good work, Houston. Good luck to y'all this season. Hey, Don Burr. I'm gonna say this, man. And I said this on social media. I've said this on this show and throughout this show. Hey, the Lions got a damn good team. I didn't know what they were going to. I didn't know what they were going to be, or I didn't know what to expect when they lost their offensive coordinator and their defensive coordinator. But watching them go up against the Houston Texans today, who's by far, one of the top teams in the AFC as well. Man, that practice was very competitive, and I have a lot of respect for the Lions. Right now, Don, I can't say that too loud if I'm back home in Houston because my wife's a Packers fan. So I can only give about this much credit when I'm in the house to the Lions, and she allows me to give credit to the Minnesota Vikings because the defensive end, Jonathan Grenard, used to play for Houston, and he's a really cool dude. But yeah. So, but getting back to Jalen Noel, He's one of those receivers that can get big when he needs to, and then play small when he has to, and he's not afraid of contact. That's why I asked him the question about Steve Smith. And he said, from a physicality standpoint, yes. And that's all I want. Because I feel like he can be a miniature Steve Smith in the slot. And what I mean by a miniature Steve Smith in the slot, the one thing about Steve Smith was he was very good. He is very aggravated, but he is very physical. And I think that that's the part that a lot of people miss when it comes to Jalen Noel. He's physical and he don't mind taking a hit. He knows in that slot position, the places that he needs to be or where he needs to be, he knows that there's going to be bigger defenders around him and they're going to try to hit him. So that's why, and he may be small in height, but he's not small in stature. And once this Houston Texans strength and conditioning team gets a hold of him and puts that NFL weight on him, he's going to look a whole lot better. But I like what I seen from Higgins. I like what I seen from Noel. But let me get back to Nico. So with the Texans offense starting as slow as slow again, like they're old box Chevy being warmed up, I guess either Nick Caley or CJ Stroud was like, hey, I'm ready if you ready. Yeah, I'm ready if you ready. All right, then. If both of us ready, then let's go ahead and do this. And then they unleash Nico. And when they unleash Nico, that offense was ready. When they unleashed Nico, that offense was ready. And now you see him hitting on all cylinders. Nico here, Nico there, Nico here, Nico there. It's like, hey, all right, we're warmed up. Let's get going. And Nico looked good. And don't get me wrong, the secondary of the Detroit Lions, they were good. So they didn't just all of a sudden stop playing. They didn't all of a sudden just lay down because CJ and Nico started playing catch. What I'm saying is that when those two play catch, it's really hard for a defense to adjust. And when you do adjust, now you're going to it's going to open up the other things for everybody else. Then it's going to open it up for Hutch. It's going to open it up for Christian Kirk. It's going to open it up for Noel. It's going to open it up for Higgins. It's going to open it up for other people. And they know that. The Houston Texans know that. But Nico getting started, and once Nico got started, he helped that offense pick up, and he helped that offense move a little bit faster. All right, so some of these things I'm not going to put up. We're just going to talk about. Here we go. Christian Harris. He's starting to look like his old self. Christian Harris is starting to look like his old self, moving with fluidity, moving with that speed, moving quickly to get to the point of attack. Like he's moving. He looks like the old Christian Harris. Now, if they can only keep him, healthy. If they can keep him healthy, you're going to see a linebacker core that would probably consist of Azeez, Henry, Christian, EJ Speed. And then it's so crazy because the linebacker spot is so competitive because you still got Nick Neiman who's balling. Jake Hansen is having a hell of a camp. Jamal Hill is having a really good camp. I know they're gonna lose some linebackers because they can't keep 8 linebackers. Hell, even Osai look good today. But Christian Harris, if he can keep going and get back to 2023 Christian Harris, yeah, you're gonna see that defense is gonna be hell. Jawar Jordan had some good runs today. And he told me something interesting. So if there's any former running backs in here or running back coaches, maybe y'all could tell me because this is something I've never heard before. Jawar says that when he runs, he's focusing on the second level compared to the first level and what would potentially be in front of him. He says when he gets the ball, he recognizes where the hole is and he looks at the second level on who could affect him. He said, because I try my best to use my speed and agility to get through the hole. And once I get through the hole, now I got to see what this second level is doing. And I'm saying to myself, I had never really heard that before. I had never really heard somebody say that they focus on the second, they go from the second level in and not the first level out. And so that offensive line was providing him with some holes, and he, was able to get through there, and he looked good. So Christian Harris, Jawar Jordan. Oh, I gotta write this down. Uh I gotta make sure that I have this one up. Cause hold on. Hold on, y'all. I gotta put this in all caps. Here we go. So let me warn you. Let me see how much time I got. Let me preface my statement by saying this. This one may take me a minute. All right. But and before I even put it up there, so did the offensive line have their struggles today? They did. They had their struggles, but they also, as time went on, they also looked good. So they had their struggles, but they look good. And like I said, the unit, this unit that they've been having, is I'm not really at liberty to talk about who was on the first unit, but you all have seen the reports on, you know, since Greenbrier, who has been on the start, who started from left tackle, left guard, center, right guard, right tackle. Y'all know their lineup. I'm not at liberty to say, but you all know who it is. So the offensive line has its ups and downs. Yes, it's up. See, when they started talking about CJ was running for his life, that's because them first two drills, right? And as time went on, right, and CJ threw some interceptions today. CJ threw some interceptions in 7-on-7. Um, but as practice went on, like I said, you could just tell he started to get more and more of a feel for the game. So the offensive line had its ups and downs. Tytus Howard. Tytus Howard. Tytus Howard. Okay. Y'all give me a second. I'm gonna let y'all replay that in your head again because I think my wife probably said something to me. Uh, hold on for a second. Y'all talk amongst yourself because y'all know once I get started, I'm gonna get started. I don't know. I am doing a show. This is to Cody M. Davis. Sorry, y'all. Y'all know how he is. Okay. Tytus Howard is a tackle. Tytus Howard is a right tackle. I'm about to feel like I'm Dr. Umar Johnson right now. Tytus Howard is a right tackle. Tytus Howard is a right tackle. Tytus Howard is a right tackle. At some point, I think Cole Popovich is just gonna say, you know what? At some point, yeah, yeah. We go. Hold on. What? Damian Pierce, Christian Kirk, and second round pick swap for Terry McLaurin. For what? They already tried with an older wide receiver. He got hurt in week 6. They had Stephon Diggs. They've already went the older wide receiver route. They don't need him. Tytus Howard had a great battle with Aiden Hutchinson on Thursday. Tytus Howard and Aiden Hutchinson had a great battle on Thursday. Tytus Howard at the right tackle position had a great day going up against Lions edge rusher Aiden Hutchinson. It's something you want to see every day, all day, and twice on Sundays. Tytus Howard is a right tackle. I don't care if Cam Robinson is healthy and you want to put him back in the left tackle position. If you put Cam Robinson at the left tackle position and you take Ariante Ursery out, then at that point, you're making a decision. Either you're going to put Ariante at a guard position or you're just going to have him back up Cam Robinson. But there's no way in hell you move Tytus Howard from that right tackle position. He has told people on many occasions, I'm a tackle. I don't mind him. I don't mind playing the guard position, but I am a tackle. He is a tackle. Hold on, I gotta get Patton says, now hold up, go blue all day, but Hutch still coming back from last year's injury. Yeah. But Patton, I mean, if we keeping it a buck, if we keeping it 100, we didn't see Tytus go up against TJ Watt. We've also seen Tytus go up against Myles Garrett. Like, I ain't taking nothing from Aiden Hutchinson. I know he's a monster. But Tytus also goes up against Will Anderson Jr. and Danielle Hunter on a consistent basis. Rich Boy J said, I've heard so many more positive things about Tytus since Laramie left. Huh? You can say that. I got to wait till I'm in the locker room. I got to wait till we're around the facility a little bit more to find out. I did ask Ariante Ursery about Tytus Howard. You all heard me play that on the show on Monday. So Tytus Howard is a tackle. Tytus Howard is a right tackle. And the way, let me say it like this. CJ feels a whole lot comfortable. And you could tell in his body language. When CJ drops back, right, and he's scanning the field, I don't even think I've never seen him really just get too much worried about this side. He doesn't get like, and don't get me wrong, Tytus gets beat too. Everybody gets beat. Bam. He don't really worry about that. And as time went on Saturday, on Thursday, Tytus was doing his thing. I don't have any updates on Fisher, and we probably won't have an update on Fisher until next week sometime. But this would have been a great game for Fisher to be in. You know what? Let me write that down because I'm gonna see if I can't find out some things tonight. I'm gonna see if I can't make some phone calls and find out some things tonight. So, yeah, I got to get moving. Let me take this down. All right. So, hey, Irv Smith Sr., tight end, says he ain't giving up that spot easily. He had some great catches, had some really good catches, had some really good blocks. So Irv Smith ain't giving up that spot, ain't giving up that tight end spot to Harrison Bryant, who, by the way, played on Thursday too. All right. Dylan Horton looked good. Daryl Taylor had a penalty, but for the most part, looked good. Tim Settle Jr. Um, looked good. That Lions first team offense is good, y'all. That Lions first team offense is good. Hey, y'all ain't gonna believe this, but there's a Dalton Schultz sighting as far as blocking is concerned. Dalton Schultz was really physical on Thursday. Had some good blocks. Yep, surely did. So, and I know, and I hope you all know. So, this ain't just been no oh man, the Texans looked amazing on Thursday. No, I'm telling you the good and the bad. I'm telling you the good and the bad. The offense sputtered. The offensive line sputtered. Uh, that's some of the bad. The secondary sputtered in the beginning. Like it wasn't. It was a very competitive, well balanced practice. And because of the slow starts, you probably would have to give the edge to the Lions because of the slow start by the Texans secondary and because of the slow start by the offense. You probably would have to, if you had to get an edge, you get an edge to them. But I mean, even in a 2-minute drill, though, it both ended in field goals. The Texans stopped the Lions offense, and the Lions defense stopped the Texans offense. So and it ended with both of them, kicking field goals, tied 23-23 to end practice in that last in that hurry up offensive drill. And so I'm gonna say this. So I don't know what's gonna happen to this Texans backup secondary. I don't know what the plan is. I don't know what's going on. Because in Minnesota they didn't look good. In Minnesota they didn't look good. Against Carolina, they looked better. Against the Lions, they didn't look good. So this backup secondary is having these ups and these downs, and I'm saying to myself, hey, y'all got to get it together. And look, we know that Jalen Smith is a rookie. So you got to remove that. He's a rookie. You got to remove that. But some of these other players, some of these other veterans, y'all been playing in this league entirely too long in order to be playing like that. And if one thing D'Amico ain't playing, he is not playing that. That he not playing that. That's he not playing that. I don't care. I don't care what you say. He's not playing that. And so they're gonna have to get it together because they're all this up and down that they're doing, all this up and down is not gonna work. It's not gonna work. Because by the way that they're playing right now, that means you can't have anything happen to your starters. Like earlier in the show, what did we talk about? We talked about MJ Stewart. And I know that MJ Stewart is not a terrible player. He's not. And maybe he will benefit if CJ Gardner Johnson doesn't come back. He'll benefit from the actual regular season play where they could be the amount of pressure that they need. But if they're not getting the pressure and he's stuck in coverage, D'Angelo Ross is some other players out there that, and a lot of it is, it seems like a lot of it isn't the quick recognition. How about that? Maybe I could say that. About the quick recognition. Hold on one second, y'all. I gotta answer this. And then I'm gonna get to the last point because I gotta get out of here. So Angel Torres says, what happened to that boost you were talking about in the secondary? And it's so funny, Angel. Because I had a lot of people coming at me. Well, Landry already reported Landry already said that C.J. Gardner-Johnson was working out in the backfield. Landry already reported. I know what Landry reported. I'm standing right there next to him. We all seen the same thing. We all seen C.J. Gardner-Johnson on the backfield. We all seen him back there doing his rehab, and we all know that, right? And so we know that some of the reports that came out about him missing, the entire season was wrong. He said he could be. They said that he was going to be back earlier than expected. And the way that I seen him walking, in practice, he doesn't look like he has a limp, but you know, it goes with coming off of that type of injury. Of course, you're going to have a limp. So I'm not telling you something that you don't already know that hasn't already been reported and seen. So yeah, they should get a boost. But it's funny, Angel, because everybody automatically thought that I was just talking about C.J. Gardner-Johnson and C.J. Gardner-Johnson. You remember there was another safety that got hurt. Ricky Jalen Reed got hurt. Ricky Jalen Reed has been doing his rehab. I'm being told that his rehab is going very, very well. And, the allotted time that he was supposed to be out looks like, that could be sped up a little bit. But CJ Gardner Johnson was the only one I was talking about. I was talking about him and rookie safety Jalen Reed. That's the boost. Because if they can get both of them back, you get Jalen Reed some playing time wherever you can. And it's sad because him getting hurt after having the camp that he was having is what he had. Like 2 or 3. He got 2 or 3 training camp interceptions. But missing this amount of time, which is something that he needs, especially as a rookie, he needs this amount of time. And with CJ Gardner Johnson going down, this would have been the perfect opportunity for him to get a lot more game reps. And so now he's put himself behind. Well, he didn't put himself, he got injured. So now he's behind the 8 ball. But he wasn't the only one. All right, y'all give me a second. I got it. Okay, be safe. Y'all, I'm about to get up out of here. I gotta go. I got reservations, but y'all know I ain't gonna leave y'all like that. Y'all know I ain't gonna leave y'all like that. So, what do we talk about? We talked about the Lions wide receivers versus Texas secondary. They need CJ Gardner Johnson back. Texas offense started slow but picked up. We talked about Nico Collins. We talked about Harris. We talked about Gerard Jordan, the old line. Tytus Howard is a tackle, right tackle in particular. Irv Smith Sr., Dylan Horton, Schultz blocking. Uh, the rookies, Jaden Higgins and Jalen Noel, look good. The backup secondary needs help. And last but not least, because we're going to end this thing on this. Yeah. 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 Said this before. I'll say it again. And I think when I was on that show, uh, I think when I was on that show, Angel, you're gonna have to rewind the show, man, because I've already talked about Noel and Higgins. You're gonna have to rewind the show because I gotta wrap it up. I got dinner reservations. So when I was on another show on Tuesday, we started talking about impact players, and I said, sure, we can talk about CJ. Sure, we can talk about Nico. Sure, we can talk about Joe Mixon once he returns. Sure. We can talk about Danielle Hunter. Sure. We can talk about Aziz. We can talk about Derek Stingley Jr. We can talk about Kamari. We can talk about Kalen Bullock. We can talk about CJ Gardner Johnson once he comes back. But listen, y'all. Listen. Hear me and hear me well. Now, on that show, I started preaching. But, it says your Mac will sleep unless plugged into a power outlet. Y'all hold on for a second, because Angel, if I didn't have to get to dinner, I got dinner reservation with some of my colleagues. If I didn't, I would have went back to it. If I didn't have to get to dinner, I'd have stayed. I stay on here with y'all. I ain't got nothing else. I wouldn't have nothing else to do. I'd stay on here with y'all for 3 hours. Hell, I may come back and do a big Sarge after dark tonight. We may do a Texas happy hour after dark when I get back from dinner. But let me finish on this, y'all. Will Anderson Jr. It ain't too much to it ain't too much that you could say negatively about Will Anderson Jr. Now, Will Anderson Jr. is his own worst critic. He doesn't think that when you see him play, you could point out everything he did good, and Will Anderson is going to point out everything that he did bad and how he can improve. I think I told you all the story on last season when after they beat the Chargers, after the Texans beat the Chargers on Wild Card Saturday. On Sunday, the players were off, right? On Sunday, the players were off, but the coaches were coming in to review film to get ready for Monday, right? Coach Rod Wright said he walks into the room. He said before he get in there, he could hear the film running. He could feel. I mean, he could hear. He could hear the someone was in the room watching tape. So he just figured that it was one of the coaches, and he walked in there and it was Will. And by the time I got in there, Will already had a list of things that he messed up on and that he could have done better. Y'all, this young man is special. And I know, I say he a beast, he a monster. We call him the Terminator. Will Anderson Jr. is just different. And on Thursday, he showed them that he was different. Up to the point where they had to start double teaming him. They had to start double teaming Will Anderson Jr. because he was too disruptive. Now, don't get me wrong. Danielle Hunter is disruptive too. But it's just something about Will Anderson Jr. I think that Coach Wright told me in the interview that I did with him, which I'm going to need y'all support on that because Rod Wright gave me 16 minutes. And getting 16 minutes in an interview is the equivalent to getting an hour and a half when you're just standing on the field. Rod Wright gave me 16 good minutes of solid answers from my question. He didn't just blow me off. He gave me really good answers. And he said that one day him and Danielle was talking. And Danielle told him, I ain't gonna lie, I ain't never really seen nothing like him. This is Danielle Hunter now. One of the premier, what wasn't Danielle just named like 20? Shout out to Danielle Hunter for being ranked 25th in the top 100 players of 2025. Because Will was 48. Yeah, Will was 48 because I remember JG was 46. And wasn't it Danielle Hunter's 25, if I'm not mistaken. But Danielle Hunter was like, hey, he ain't nothing I ain't never seen. So, hey, y'all. Hey, this young man is special. This young man is special. I remember there was a lot of people out there that didn't think that he was worth the draft picks that the Houston Texans gave up after they drafted CJ Stroud. DeMeco knew exactly who he wanted. It was a given. They were going to get a quarterback. It was a given that they were either going to get Bryce Young or they were going to get CJ Stroud. They knew for a fact that they were going to get a quarterback. They had to make it work in order to get Will Anderson Jr. And the draft picks that they gave up for Will Anderson Jr. is worth it. And this young man only been in the league 2 years. He's only going in his third year. His third year. Oh, my bad. JG was 48 and Will was 46. Okay, my bad. Will, worth it. Worth it. Worth it. And listen, on Thursday, he showed the Detroit Lions that he's worth it. I wanted to ask Dan Campbell that question, but I was only able to ask one question. So I asked about the trajectory of the Houston Texans. I wanted to ask him about Will, because it's one thing to hear the players and the coaches from the Texans talk about him. Y'all need to hear other teams talk about him. Y'all need to hear other players that have to go up against him talk about him. Y'all need to hear other coaches that go up against him talk about him. And there's like they literally have to game plan. I put it like this. They started out on Thursday one-on-one with Will. By the time practice ended, they were double teaming Will. Double teaming. And as they were going to the bus, I said, yeah. I said, I seen the double team. And he just started laughing. Said something like, you crazy, Sarge. And then he just kept walking. Of course, I know he wasn't going to really talk about it. But I said, I seen the double team. And it's crazy. It's crazy because Will Anderson Jr. never played with his hands in the dirt when he was when he didn't ever really play consistently with his hands in the dirt when he was at Alabama. So to see what he's able to do coming out of a 4-point stance, coming out of a 3-point stance, especially for a player who's used to standing up, that's just you ever had a coach that talk about a player and say he just got that want to in him. He got that want to in him. That want to is something you can't coach. That want to is something you're born with. That want to is something that you're born with, and you just develop it and nurture it and mature it over time. Will Anderson Jr. got that want to in him. I want to destroy you. I want you to know that I'm here. I want to do everything that I can to mentally and physically let you know, one, I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. No matter what you do, you might want to send 3 people over here to stop me, because I want to destroy and disrupt the play. Will even had a strip sack. A strip sack, what, it was a strip sack fumble? Oh, I think he was. I have to ask Jonathan, was it a strip sack or was it a strip fumble? Because there was so much going on I couldn't see. But when you got that want to in you, that want to gives you that extra gear. That want to gives you that extra gear saying, it don't matter, bro. Listen, I may not win this play. Cool. I may not win this rep. But the problem for you is I'll be right back. Don't worry. I ain't going nowhere. I'll be right back. I'm just going over on this side because it's illegal for me to be over here. I'm just going on this side. I'll be right back. Hold on, kid folk. I'm going to be right back. And he got that want to in him. And so the Detroit Lions felt that want to on Thursday. He wants to. Every time you turn around, he wants to. He wants to destroy any and everything that's in front of him. Everything. And having talked to Will off the field, it's crazy because it's like the gear that mentality that he has. What's up, D Skills? That mentality that he has is that I'm not losing. Which is why he was so emotional after that divisional round game against the Kansas City Chiefs last season. That's why he was so emotional. Because he hates losing. And every time they lose, he takes it personal as if he could have done something else. Like there's something else I know that I could have done. There's something else I know I could have been better at. There's something else I know that could have helped the team. I shouldn't have did this. I shouldn't have did that. And the one thing that Raw Wright said he's been working on also is telling Will every play ain't 4th and inches, Will. And that's one thing he's starting to realize. Every play ain't 4th and inches. And so, time is it? I got to get ready to get up out of here. I'm going to try my best. I'm going to try my best to come back here and get into some of these. I'm going to come back and I'm going to have, it's just going to be an open, it's going to be an open session. It's going to be an open question and answer session. So y'all make sure y'all get all y'all questions down for whatever you want to ask me about the joint practice between the Texans and the Lions on Thursday. Y'all get all them questions together. And I'm going to try to come back here and do another show. Like I said, I have a prior commitment, a prior engagement that I have to be at, that I made that I made a promise. I made a promise that I would attend this thing. Cause y'all know me. I'd be like, nah, Sarge can stay in this room, make me a sandwich and watch TV and put out content. I'm like, I got too much content I gotta put out. I ain't going to the hell no, I ain't going to no casino these skills. I ain't got money like that. My wife is the one that loves casinos. I just like going to support her. She likes going to the casino. I like to go to support her. I am too old and too cheap to like casinos. And I'm old school, D skills. I need to be in my own environment. 6 and 8 running mates. First person was with a 22. Nina Ross is the boss. Jordan came back wearing a what? 4-5. You know, I got the T Liam first. Let me T Liam, and then let me grab him. And I'll be like, all right. What's the point? Oh, 6 and 8 running mates, baby. There you go. Let me get that. Dime the dummy. What? What did Jordan do when he was what did Jordan put up in Madison Square Garden? The double nickel. I'm too cheap for that. Yeah, I heard it's a casino downtown. Know what else I heard? Sarge ain't gonna be there. You've been tuned to the Texas Happy Hour, sponsored by the Hall Family Estates. They say you can't buy happiness, but you can buy wine. That's the same thing. That's the closest thing to it. Go to www.hallfamilyestates.com. Make sure you follow me on the app formerly known as Twitter at Big Sarge Sports with a Z at the end. Follow me on the Tick and the Talk at Big Sarge Media. Make sure you subscribe to the Texas Tailgate Talk podcast and YouTube channel, all one word, Texas Tailgate Talk. Follow me on the Tick and the Talk at Big Sarge Media. Follow me on Instagram at Big Sarge Sports with a Z at the end. Because, you know, we do everything for the gram. And make sure you go to www. Look, hold on. Y'all know I got to do this. Hold on for a second. I got to share the screen. I need y'all support. Because I really think that this is something that you all are really like. This is my latest article over at www.bigsargemedia.com. And it says mutual respect earned between Texans DeMeco Ryans and Lions Dan Campbell. It says when the Houston Texans and Detroit Lions played their final preseason game on Saturday at Ford Field in Detroit, Michigan, 2 former NFL players will be on the sidelines, just like they were during their playing days, waiting for the chance to re-enter the game and make a difference. Yet, those days have passed for DeMeco Ryans, a former linebacker, and Dan Campbell, a former tight end. Now they use their talent to decide whether to preserve timeouts in critical moments or leave the offense on the field for a 4th down play, which is a Dan Campbell hallmark. Dialing up an aggressive blitz, aiming to sack the opposing quarterback or force a turnover is a strategy Ryans constantly employs with his defense on the field. So y'all please go over and read that article for me, please. I think it's a good one. You're here. I asked both coaches about each other on Thursday, and so you get a chance to hear the mutual respect that they have for one another. Big Sarge. I'm out. Big Sarge.